Hey there, so I'd like to welcome you to the Yoga Health Nurse YouTube channel. And today we are going to be discussing our first of many videos on the 8 Limbs of Yoga series. Now, this is designed for nurses, but suitable for all. And what we will do over the next few videos, about 9 of them, we will discuss how the 8 limbs of yoga play a role into our nurse life. So if you like this video or this series, please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and thank you for following me. The nurse in me honors the nurse in you. Let's namaste in nursing. So if you're new to the Yoga Health Nurse movement, just want to take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Lindsay, and my mission is to keep nurses in nursing. And how am I doing that? I'm teaching nurses how to live a life of yoga. And why am I doing that? Because I was burnt out 3 years into the profession and I wanted to leave. I was done. And I luckily got onto a yoga mat and it transformed my life and it saved my nursing career. So if you or any of your nursey friends out there are super stressed out and considering to leave the profession, I want you to join my movement. So if you do have some nurse friends out there, I want you to let them know about Yoga Health Nurse. I have a page. We have a private Facebook group called Stress Nurses Seeking Balance. It's free. It's where we want all like-minded nurses to come together to start to learn how to live a life of yoga. And right now, we have a 3-day yoga challenge going on. So maybe you've never tried yoga and you want to taste it or try it on for size. You can do that for 3 days. And I put the link in the description of this Facebook Live tonight. So you can just click that and sign up for your 3-day yoga challenge. It comes directly to your email, so you don't have to do anything from that perspective, but super, super easy. And why I'm bringing this kind of stuff to nurses is because I know you're stressed out and I know time is a huge factor for you. So yes, there is tons of stuff to learn about yoga. There is an immense amount of time that I could take from your life to teach you everything I've learned through my yoga teacher training, through my nurse practicing, everything. But I want to break it down in these awesome little nuggets of gold and hand them off to you. So that's what I'm here to do. And I put out a questionnaire about what things about yoga or about nursing or about maybe being stressed in nursing, what do you want to learn? So if you haven't given me feedback yet, I'm open to it 24 hours, 365 days a year. So hop into the comment box and let me know how I can help you. So one of the big, really things that kept coming across my desk was basically you want to learn more about the Yoga Sutras and the 8 limbs of yoga. And I was super excited about this because this is the bread and butter of yoga, guys. Like, this is what you can bring into your nurse life to really transform, okay? So today we are going to start with going through the 8 limbs of yoga. And that's right, I said 8, which means because of this question, we have started a whole series because I want to break it down really quick, really simple for you so you can get those little golden nuggets and take them into your nurse life with you. And as always, I'm here for any questions. So we will be having that series. All the events are up for that series. Also, I have added on at the end of each month, we're going to do a live Q&A. So if you have questions, it can be anything, guys, like about poses, alignment. I'll get down on the floor. I'll get into on my yoga mat and show you different things if I need to, like modifications, stuff like that. So this is an opportunity to pick my brain on anything that would help your nurse life. So that's every month. At the end of the month, we're going to be doing a 30-minute live Q&A. I really would love for you to submit your questions beforehand. You can email me at yogahealthnurse@gmail.com or send me a direct message on Facebook or put a comment when I put it up that it's coming up. Super simple. So I can kind of get all the questions together in a line that works. Because again, we want to be efficient, right? We're efficient machines here. So we don't have a lot of time. So with that being said, I'm going to move on to tonight's Facebook Live about 8 limbs of yoga. All right. So the 8 limbs of yogas comes from the Yoga Sutras. Well, what is that? The Yoga Sutras is the guidebook of classical yoga that a theorist yogi called Pantajali wrote. Okay. So around his or her story is a little bit wishy-washy because they don't know if it was just one person or maybe a couple people. So to give you a history on this person is irrelevant in this time for your nurse life. Again, giving you the golden nuggets. So each limb of the yoga will give you guidance on how to live a meaningful and purposeful life, right? So we think about when we start to have these conversations with patients about quality of life, all right? This is all about quality of life, guys. How can you show up for your best self and your highest self? All right. So just a reminder that the word yoga means to connect, to unite, or yoke. It doesn't mean to get on the mat and move, right? We'll get there. But what we are looking to do through our yoga practice is to connect to our true self, our essence, or our soul. All right. So many of us can be completely disconnected from that. And I was completely disconnected. And it took, well, 3-4 years, and I'm still learning. So I want you to know that there's really no end point in this journey, but it's always evolving, which is super fun because you are always striving to get to your highest self, right? And so some of us may have a problem with that because it's like no end point. We never get to the finish line, but that's the practice of yoga, always coming back to show up for ourselves. And just like your shift, your nursing shift, your patient load will change day to day, or your patients will change day to day. So will life. Okay. So if that way of, unity or yoga or yoking doesn't resonate with you, then I want you to consider the word yoga can also mean separation or disentanglement. The thing we're disentangling from whatever stops us from feeling free, as the ultimate goal of our yoga practice is to attain liberation or freedom. And freedom can feel different for everybody. What kind of freedom are you striving for in your nurse life? Maybe it's financial freedom. Maybe it's feeling free every time you go to work. Maybe it's being free from pain, free from stress. What kind of freedom are you striving for? And your yoga practice will help you to guide you to that freedom. So how does one go about attaining this freedom through yoga? And it's not about wearing expensive yoga pants. It's not about signing up for a detox retreat or finally touching your toes, but rather it comes from living your yoga through the 8 limbs. Okay. So we're going to go through the 8 limbs of yoga right now. And each week in the next couple months, really, we are going to learn about each one of the limb. And I'm going to talk to you about how to take that one limb of yoga and introduce it into your nurse life. So specific for nurses. Okay. So the first one is Yama, and that's a restraint, a moral discipline, or moral vows. And this refers to disciplines or practices that are primarily concerned with our interaction with the world around us. Okay. So while the practice of yoga can indeed increase physical strength and flexibility, we know that, and it aids in calming the mind. Well, what's the point if we're still rigid and we're stressed out in our day-to-day nurse life? So there are 5 yamas that we will break down next week. Okay, so we'll go into that next week. And then there's niyamas, and that's positive duty or observances. So it usually refers to the duties directed towards ourselves. So this is more like self-introspection, and this is really honestly my favorite, but can also be considered with our actions towards the outside world, all right? And there are 5 as well, and they tend to build your character, and it gets a little uncomfortable in there, but we'll do this together. coming up. And then asana. So asana's translation is posture. And when they were doing the Yoga Sutras and the 8 limbs, basically it was all about meditation. It wasn't really about downward facing dog or crow or handstand or anything like that. So asana actually translates into seat because it's a seated position for meditation. So we will go through asana as well. And then there's pranayama, and you might have heard this. This is the breathing techniques or the breath work, okay? So that's another limb of yoga that we will also touch on. Then we have pratyahara, which is the sense withdrawal. So we're reducing distractions. And in nursing, you know that there's tons of distractions that we have to come across. Like we'll be in one room and a call bell will go off, or you'll get a call to say, hey, this patient's family member wants to talk to you. So tons of different distractions that we actually get bombarded with throughout our nurse life. And instead of actually losing the ability to hear, to smell, to see, and to feel, the practice of pratyahara changes our state of mind so that we become more absorbed in what it is we're focusing on. Okay, that the things outside of ourselves no longer bother us and we're able to meditate without becoming easily distracted. So this whole thought of when you're starting to sit down into meditation, you're really withdrawing from the senses around you. All right. And then dharana is focused concentration, and concentration comes before meditation. So in order to focus on something, the senses must be withdrawn so that all attention is put on the point of concentration. And in order to draw our senses in, we must focus and concentrate intently. So you think about our nurse job and our career rather, how much concentration is so important to the safety of our patients, okay? And then dhyana, however you want to pronounce it, meditative absorption. So this is the 7th limb, is meditation, when we become completely absorbed in the focus of our meditation. And this is when we're really meditating. And this is a complete different Facebook Live, but I'd like to just say that meditation does not mean that you need to sit still for 12 minutes on a cushion, cross-legged, uncomfortable with your hands on your lap with your palms facing up and quieting the mind, right? So quieting the mind, what is that really? Well, if your mind is thinking and going through things, it's actually a pretty good brain, right? Like your brain is actually working. So it's really meditation, and we'll go more into this when we hit this, but meditation can be very intimidating for some people because they think they need to sit in quiet. And we'll get more into this in the weeks to come. And then the ultimate and the last final step of our journey is called Samadhi, and that's bliss or enlightenment, right? So after we organized our relationships with the outside world and our inner world, we come to the finale of our bliss. All right. And this isn't about like escapism or floating away into a cloud or being abundantly joyful. It's about realizing that the very life that lies in front of us. Okay. So getting back to that quality of life feeling like we are here, we have arrived in that life that lies in front of us. All right, so that's a quick overview of the 8 limbs of yoga, and I'm so excited in the upcoming weeks to dive into more with you and how we can incorporate these into our nurse life, because I am here for nurses and yoga health nurses centered around nurses, but we serve everyone. So if you do find yourself here watching and you're not a nurse, please stick with us. I promise you that you can bring so much yoga into your own life and you will feel the ultimate freedom and bliss. If you guys have any questions after you've watched this video, if you watch it on replay, then go ahead and hit me up in those comments and I will answer you as soon as I get them. And as always, the nurse in me honors the nurse in you, and let's namaste in nursing.